Welcome to Across the Goal on a sports podcast brought to you by diehard fans. Luke Gossard and Corey Mains, and today we're going to get into the divisional round of the playoffs as they were this weekend. We're going to go over the 4 games that were played, and also we're going to preview the conference championships for both the AFC and the NFC today as well. I'll throw it over to Luke first. Do you have anything to say before we get started?
Yeah, just like us here on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ATGL16. Subscribe to our YouTube page. Email us at acrossthegoalline2016 at acrossthegoalline2016 at gmail.com. Follow both of us on Twitter at CoolhandLuke96 at CAMains14. Follow me on Instagram too at AlGodasart96. The question of the day today is who's going to win tonight's hockey game between the San Jose Sharks and the LA Kings. I'm picking the Sharks. Corey, who are you going to take?
Yeah, give me the Sharks as well.
It's an interesting matchup. Both teams are 1-2 in the West right now, so that should be a good game. It's at 10:30 tonight on NBC Sports Network, followed by Sports Jeopardy, which is a fun new TV show that's been out. I found out about it recently. I've been watching it. It's just like Jeopardy. It's just all about sports, though. It's right up my alley. I watch it every week. I DVR it, record it. So, just follow us on Twitter and Instagram, like us here on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, email us, follow both of us on Twitter and me on Instagram, and then go vote on the poll on Twitter for the question of the day. Comment on this live stream as well if you have any questions for us, and then comment over on the post for the question of the day here on Facebook as well and Instagram. So without further ado, let's get into what happened this past weekend in the NFL playoffs and then preview the upcoming week in the NFL playoffs.
Yeah, the divisional round now. Saturday and Sunday games. This early Saturday game was the Falcons taking on the Seahawks in a rematch from, 2012 it was. And these two teams played in Atlanta again, where the Falcons came out on top. And they did again this day on Saturday. They beat them 36-20, although the score was a lot more bloated than that. The Seahawks scored a late touchdown to make it 20, make it a 16-point deficit. But this game was pretty good for about a quarter and a half or so. The Falcons scored 19 points in the second quarter, was up 9 going into the half, and then kind of ran away with it in the second half. Big story in this game is that they stopped the running game of the Seahawks that was so effective against the Lions the previous week. Rawls only had about 20 yards or so. Russell Wilson led the team in rushing yards with about 49. And most of that is because he was getting rushed so hard by the Falcons defense. He was hurried on about half of his dropbacks, forcing him to scramble out of the pocket, make some plays with his legs. But it ultimately was not enough. The Falcons played a pretty stellar defensive game, I thought, and their offense did just well. Matt Ryan threw about 350 almost and 3 touchdowns. Ultimately, a pretty good game for the MVP candidate.
Should still win the MVP,
and that's only going to help him with a great performance here in the divisional round.
Yes, and now I think with the 2 games coming up this weekend, whoever wins the NFC Championship game, whether it be the Packers or the Falcons, that quarterback's going to win the MVP. Because people are going to say Aaron Rodgers is playing phenomenal right now as well, but I'm still going to take Matt Ryan because all season long, he's outplayed Aaron Rodgers in my opinion. So I still got to vote for Matt Ryan. But yeah, Falcons won by 16. As you said, the game was somewhat close in the beginning, but really got out of control in the second half. And the Seahawks run game, it was like that all year. Really, that one game against the Lions in the wild card was Rawls' best game of the year. Seattle does need some more help on the offensive line. They have gotten better, but they need a number 1 wide receiver. Doug Baldwin, Paul Richardson, he's stepped it up in the past couple weeks for the Seahawks, but they need a number 1 wide receiver for Russell Wilson. And then they have Jimmy Graham at tight end. If they can get that O-line tweaked up a little bit, Tom Cable, he's returning. He interviewed for the 49ers job. He's their offensive line coach. He's a former Raiders head coach. But if they can get that offensive line tweaked, get a number 1 wide receiver, maybe in free agency, maybe through the draft this year coming up, the Seahawks, they're going to be back. Russell Wilson, he's led the Seahawks to the playoffs in all 5 seasons he's been in the National Football League. But then this is the second straight year that they've lost to an NFC South team in the divisional round of the playoffs.
Yeah, this game was kind of a continuation of the road woes that we talked about last week for the Seahawks. only scoring 20 points. You could say 13 because, of course, it was the quote-unquote garbage time touchdown at the end of the game to Baldwin. with only 19 seconds remaining. So the Falcons, that's a huge win for them. And you already said this, the Packers did, in fact, win their game. We'll get into that later, but we still have one more Saturday day game to get to. And that was the Patriots taking on the Texans in Foxborough. The Patriots walked away with an 18-point victory, beating the Texans 34-16 in a game that was actually pretty close around halftime. And then the second half, Brock Osweiler kind of imploded.
Well, it was still closer middle way through the third quarter, but as you said, he imploded. He threw 3 interceptions, 2 in the second half. And I thought this game was a lot like that Seahawks-Falcons game. You know, it was close, got out of control in the second half, and New England's defense shut down Houston's offense.
Well, New England's defense, I feel, is a pretty underrated defense in general. No one really talks about their defense. Matt
Patricia has done a great job, and he was a candidate for a number of head coaching vacancies this offseason, but he's decided to stay in New England along with Josh McDaniels. Now, I read this morning McDaniels, he's eyeing the Detroit Lions and the Tennessee Titans for next year, possibly, if either Jim Caldwell or Mike Mularkey gets fired. But we'll have to see about that. We still that's all of next year. We're not even finished with this year. But New England, they're obviously beat back. I mean, they didn't lose. They're playing the AFC title game now at home. But bringing back both their coordinators when people thought either one or maybe even both of them would be leaving to take head coaching jobs, you know, they can take a step back and relax now.
Yeah, but Patriots defense, I feel, is no one really talks about it, but it's really solid defense.
Yeah.
They have a fantastic rushing defense, which is going to help them a lot in their game against Pittsburgh in the AFC Championship game, because, of course, Le'Veon Bell is a huge part of the Pittsburgh offense. But more on that when we talk about those two games, the AFC and the NFC Championship games. But nevertheless, Patriots haven't allowed a rushing touchdown in, seems like, forever. It's been 9 weeks or so about. They haven't given up one since October, I think it was, if I remember that correctly. But
it might have been to Le'Veon Bell when they played each other when Pittsburgh played New England back in October.
Possibly.
It might have been Le'Veon Bell. We'll have to look into that.
You have to look at the box scores, of course. Yeah. But we talk about the Patriots. We always talk about Tom Brady and that offense. Him and Belichick running that offense, having one of the best offenses in the league consistently over the past decade or so now. But the defense is always just kind of under the radar, solid.
This defense this year reminds me a lot of when they won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years back. Super Bowl 36, 38, and 39. 37 was won by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they defeated the Oakland Raiders, who beat the Patriots in the AFC title game that year. So the Patriots were still there. They just lost to the Raiders, but who got blown out by the Bucs. But this defense this year reminds me a whole lot of the teams back then because they're somewhat young. They really don't have that number one guy on defense that's a true veteran going back to those teams, because back then all the guys were young. They had Teddy Bruschi, Mike Vrabel, who just got promoted to the defense coordinator position with Houston Texans. Romeo Crennel is going to stay with the Texans as the assistant head coach, though. He's getting up there in age. He's going to turn 70, so he's going to take a back seat there down in H-Town. But very, very similar Patriots defenses back then to this year, I believe.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. But let's get into the other games now so we can get into those AFC and NFC Championship games, because we're kind of trying to jump the gun a little bit sometime.
I always try to do it, but I mean...
we try not to reveal too much about what we think is going to happen in those games. But moving on to Sunday now, the Cowboys and Packers, a fantastic game. Honestly, probably the best game. Just the sheer excitement alone because of the lead changes late in this game. But this was supposed to be the last game played, but the Chiefs and Steelers got pushed back to Sunday night because of the weather in Kansas City. It was pretty bad there. So.
Which really didn't affect that game at all.
Well, it would have if they did play.
If they did play at 1 o'clock, but with moving it back, And then there's even talks that they're going to move it to Monday night, but the weather was fine come 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Central Time then. Yeah,
but Packers defeat the Cowboys 34-31, and it was overtime. Yes.
No.
Someone said overtime. Overtime was it?
No, it wasn't overtime. It was a game-winning field goal. Time expired late in the fourth quarter. They had 4 seconds left, and he kicked the game-winning field goal.
But 3 lead changes there in the last 2 minutes or so, because Green Bay kicked the field goal, Dak and company come down, kick a field goal, and then Aaron Rodgers. Great catch by Jared Cook, by the way, on that drive.
Aaron Rodgers went to Jared.
Yeah. He did.
He might be getting himself another ring.
Yeah, but got to be disappointing for the Packers, or not the Packers, the Cowboys losing this game, rather.
Yeah.
But you can't really take anything away from the Cowboys. It's not like they screwed themselves, I don't think.
No,
well.
The Packers outplayed them.
Yeah,
it was a great game. One of the best games I've seen in the NFL in a long time.
Yeah, but it wasn't
one of the best.
It wasn't your typical Cowboys quarterback throws a pick trying to win the game late.
No, because Tony Romo wasn't playing.
And
who knows where he'll be playing at next year? There's talks. They're going to trade him. They're going to release him. The Chargers just moved from San Diego to L.A. That was big news last Wednesday night. After we went off the air, and the first time we brought it up, we haven't talked about it. Maybe we'll talk about it here coming up. But the Chargers are moving to L.A. now alongside the Rams. The Rams have been there for a year again. But now Phillip Rivers, he doesn't want to move because his wife and him have 8 children. They do not want to move from San Diego to L.A. So he said he wants traded to the San Francisco 49ers. Well, it doesn't really make any sense to me, if you ask me, because he's going to have to move either way. If he wants traded, he's going to have to move to San Francisco. And if he stays with the Chargers, he's going to have to move to L.A. because the Chargers are moving to L.A. So it doesn't really make any sense. But maybe if the Chargers do trade Phillip Rivers to the 49ers, maybe the Cowboys trade Tony Romo to the San Diego Chargers, and the Chargers have their new face of the franchise to lead them into L.A. with a veteran quarterback, much older than Phillip Rivers, but we'll have to see about that. But back in the games, the Cowboys-Packers game, like I said, it was one of the best football games, NFL games I've seen in recent time.
Yeah, the excitement late in that game, just them trading back and forth there in the final 2 minutes or so, just excitement on the edge of your seat type of stuff right there.
Yeah.
And ultimately was probably the best game of the division round and the playoffs in general, because of course the wild card round was nothing really exciting. All the games were blowouts.
But we got 2 great games this weekend coming up, and then whoever wins those are going to be playing in the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl, it's going to be one hell of a game this year, unlike in years past. You can go back to Super Bowl 49. The Seahawks should have ran it instead of throwing it. 48 was a blowout. The Seahawks blew out Peyton Manning and the Broncos. And then you can go back to 47. That was a good game between the Harbaugh brothers with the Ravens and 49ers. But I think all the teams in the playoffs this year were so great. I think I said it. I wouldn't be mad at whoever would win because all the teams are just, so damn good. And now we got the top 4, the best 4 left. And whoever wins. I'm not going to be mad if Pittsburgh loses, but it's one of the best NFL seasons in general. Just not got this one game. It was great. One of the best seasons of the NFL, I think, in recent time as well. So.
All right, with that, we'll get into the final game now. As we mentioned, Steelers took on the Chiefs. Steelers win this game, and they don't even score a touchdown.
No, Boswell kicked 6 field goals. It was a playoff record. He actually kicked 6 field goals against the Cincinnati Bengals back in the middle of December, which was a Steeler record. So he tied his own record, but those records are going to be put in two separate categories because one's in the regular season and one's during the playoffs. And the record during the regular season was 7. He didn't break that, obviously, like I said. But, they didn't have to score a touchdown. But Le'Veon Bell, he had a great game. I think he averaged 5 yards to carry, if I'm not mistaken. And Roethlisberger, he had a great game as well. He did throw, 2 interceptions. The one, he shouldn't have thrown it. They should have ran it. It was at the 1 yard line down the goal line there. But yeah, Pittsburgh got out Arrowhead with the win. Yeah, I actually know somebody who went to the game, and they said they give it to the Chiefs. Their fans are like the loudest fans in the NFL, and we've said it how many times on here. Arrowhead's one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. So yeah, kudos to the Chiefs, but they couldn't convert that 2-point conversion because of a holding call.
Yeah, Steelers win 18-16 because of that non-2-point conversion. They got it. had a holding call, of course, on that 2-point conversion to tie the game. Was unable to convert the next one, then the actual one that counted.
Yeah.
Because it was backed up 10 yards, of course. So they drop the 2-point loss there. But yeah, give credit to the Chiefs because holding the Steelers to just 6 field goals only, pretty impressive. Their defense was kind of not that great for the first half of the field, but then that final half, where not allowing the Steelers to get a touchdown, it's got to be, you got to give them credit for that, being able to bear down when they need it the most and get the stops that they needed, kept them in the game ultimately. Because you think even half of those are touchdowns, this game's not even close.
Oh, for sure.
In the end. So
it would have just been like the game that was played back in the beginning of October. Pittsburgh.
Not that much.
Well, you don't know that because Pittsburgh did have their chances, but as we said, Boswell kicked 6 field goals, and I'll take it. A win's a win.
Yeah, a win is a win. It was a pretty good game. I mean,
it was.
At the very end,
both games on Sunday were great.
Yeah, some of it was maybe not. It wasn't nearly as exciting, I don't think, as the Cowboys and Packers because of just the sheer drama in that game.
Well, the thing with the Packers-Cowboys game, Aaron Rodgers, I was watching it, obviously. He drew up the play on his hand in the huddle, and they had the camera right on him when he was doing it. And then he hits Cook for a 35-yard gain. They said it was a 36-yard gain. It was a 35-yard gain, which set up the game-winning field goal by Mason Crosby. And Mason Crosby, first NFL player ever to kick 2 field goals in the last 2 minutes of the game for 50 yards or more. Which is pretty impressive. But he actually kicked 3 because Dallas called a timeout to ice him, and then he still kicked another one and won Green Bay the game.
Yeah.
So Mason Crosby, a lot of people were getting on him the past couple years. He's not been kicking well, but hell, he just sent his team to the NFC Title game for God's sakes.
Yeah. And let's get into the title games now.
All right.
We'll start with the AFC, of course. We've typically done that here on the show, starting with the AFC and then the NFC following it. Steelers-Patriots then in Foxborough. Who are you going to take in this one? I mean, it's not really a question for you, but I want to hear what you got to say about this.
I mean, look what I'm wearing. This is a late game on Sunday. It's at 6:40 on CBS. The NFC title games on Fox at 3:05 Sunday afternoon. Both games should be real good, but the Patriots, I think if they can stop Le'Veon Bell, they're going to win. But if they can't, Pittsburgh is going to be going to their 9th Super Bowl, and on their they'll be on the stairway to 7 then to get their 7th Super Bowl championship. They should have it by now. They should have beat the Packers. It's going to be 6 years ago now. But Aaron Rodgers and the Packers pulled it out to give him his first Super Bowl championship. And then they probably should have beat the Cowboys back in Super Bowl 30 in Bill Cowher's first Super Bowl game. But they didn't. So they do have two Super Bowl losses, but they do have the most Super Bowls in NFL history at the moment with 6. So if they can get the 7, just like the number Ben Roethlisberger wears, I think Le'Veon Bell's going to have a good game. But if the Patriots can stop them, I think New England's going to win, and then I'll be rooting for whoever's coming out of the NFC. I'd really like to see the Falcons win, but we'll see about that. Yeah,
I'm going to take the Patriots in this game, of course. I don't pick the Steelers anyway, but I mean, you got to look at the Patriots. The Patriots are. This is not like one of those picks where I'm just picking against the Steelers.
Yeah.
It's like the Patriots can obviously win this game.
Oh, they can. I mean, hell. I mean, they've been in. I saw a stat. Brady and Roethlisberger. They've been in a combined. I forget how many it was. AFC title games against each other.
Yeah.
So, both teams, the Steelers and the Patriots, along with Peyton Manning's Colts and Broncos, were always in the mix. And this is going back to like 2004 when Roethlisberger came into the league. The only thing that's different about this game, going back to 2004 and 2005, because these two teams played in back-to-back years in the NFC title game. The Patriots won in 2004. And then, which could have set up a Pennsylvania Super Bowl because the Eagles represented the NFC. But then the Steelers beat the Patriots in 2005. Both those games were in Pittsburgh. This one's up in Foxborough now. I mean, Pittsburgh has played up in Foxborough in the playoffs, but it's either been in the divisional round or the wild card round. So, excuse me. Pittsburgh's going to win. Obviously, I can't pick against them. I picked them back in August to go to the Super Bowl, so I'm not changing my pick. So Pittsburgh wins, but if New England can stop Le'Veon Bell, I think they have a good shot to win.
Yeah, I think the Patriots, they have a fantastic run defense. I think they are going to stop Le'Veon Bell, and it's going to be a huge part. And, of course, Bill Belichick's going to draft up some schemes to isolate and take away Antonio Brown on the passing game, of course, because that's pretty much a specialty, of course, taking away the star receivers on the other team. He does that to a fantastic degree, and I think he'll be able to do that against Pittsburgh. And then, of course, Tom Brady and company will put up points. They always do. Even without a Rob Gronkowski out there, still, it doesn't really matter.
No one's said a word about him since he's gone down with that injury.
Because they haven't missed a beat, really, without him. I mean, Martellus Bennett is a quality number one tight end as it is. So
he is.
Him stepping into that role is not really big a difference.
Now, he went down with an injury last Saturday night against the Texans, but we'll have to see if he plays. I haven't heard anything about that. What do you think about the whole Antonio Brown thing?
I mean,
the whole Antonio Brown controversy with Facebook Live, which
I just think him in general, he's a Jay Brony. He's kind of he's kind of an idiot. He does stupid stuff, and that's just one of those things that he did. It was stupid. His Enzo dances are stupid. His decision right there is stupid because he knows the policy for social media. You're not allowed to be on social media before the game and after the game unless all the stuff is over, like post-game activities are over. You can't be on social media, and during the game, of course. And he knows the rules. He went against those rules anyway. It's just a stupid decision, of course. And I mean, I won't say it's not like I'm not totally shocked that it happened that he did this because I think it's just Antonio Brown's character in general.
Yeah.
But it was a stupid act. It was a stupid idea. And he's gonna get fined for it either by the team or the NFL.
He'll get fined by both. I agree with everything you said. I don't need to say anything then.
All right. Don't have much more to say about the game, so we'll go into the NFC now as the Packers take on the Falcons in the last game in the Georgia Dome now, officially.
As I said last week, it would be.
Yes, this is officially the last game in the Georgia Dome because, of course, even if the Falcons win, they would not be able to play in the Georgia Dome anyway because it's, of course, the Super Bowl. Yeah. It's in a totally different location.
Well, that'd be pretty cool if it was in Atlanta, but as I said, no team the city that the team plays in, that team does not play in the Super Bowl the year the Super Bowl was hosted in that city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, never happened before. I don't think it ever will. The Texans did have their shot, but they lost. So, rematch from October 30th between the Falcons and Packers. Falcons won 33-32, excuse me. I think it's going to be real close again. I wouldn't be surprised if the score is the same. It's going to be high scoring. Both offenses are putting up numbers. I mean, you look at Matt Ryan, we said he's going to possibly win the MVP. And I said, whoever wins this game, the quarterback should probably win the MVP, going either him or Rodgers in. And you look at the numbers, the Packers, they put up 38 against the Giants in the wild card round. They put up 34 last week. They're destined to put up 30 plus again this week. And then, the same thing with the Falcons. I mean, they didn't play in the wild card game, but they put up 36 last week. So I think it's going to be real close. But I said it back in August, episode 18 of Across the Goal Line. Go check it out here on our YouTube page or over on YouTube if you're watching us here on Facebook right now. Episode 18, I called it. I said Steelers, Packers, Super Bowl 51 in Houston, NRG Stadium, home of the Houston Texans, on February 5th. So I can't change my pick now. I think if the Packers do win then, obviously, I would still stick with Matt Ryan, but I think they'd give the MVP to Aaron Rodgers just because he's playing in the Super Bowl and how he's played the past 8 games. They said they would win out, finish 10-6 when they were 4-6, and they did. I believe I said that as well. I don't remember what episode it was. So whoever's watching, you can go check that out as well over on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe while you're at it. And they're 12-6 now, because with the 2 playoff wins, it doesn't go like that though. But I can't change my picks. So Steelers, Packers will win. It's going to be a close game. I I don't think somebody's gonna come up with a late stop, whether whoever it may be, but I think Green Bay's gonna win.
All right. I can make cases for both teams winning this game easily. I just feel like the case for the Atlanta Falcons is a little bit stronger, so I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons in this game overall. In the Georgia Dome, it's going to be really highly emotional, especially for the crowd there.
Yeah.
Last game in the
stadium. They're going to bring in a lot of former players, I think, again, as they did for the last regular season home game. They brought back Michael Vick, Warp Dunn, and a number of other players. I don't want to get into that, but I'd be happy if the Falcons won. I mean, you obviously just changed your pick. You picked the Patriots and the Packers back on that episode 18. But
we've had a picks thing going on.
We have. I mean, I'm 3 games up on you right now, and
I need to pick against you.
You do. So, we both went 3-1 last week, by the way, too, and I'm still 3 games up on him. So, if he wants to win the NFL, he has to do that, obviously. But, I don't know really what else to say. What else is there to say?
Well, I'm trying to tell you why I'm picking the Falcons.
Okay.
The emotionally charged atmosphere in the Georgia Dome, it's going to really give the Falcons, I think, a little bit of an edge almost. They'll be playing with a lot more fire, I think. Also, trying to get back to the Super Bowl for the first time since '98, where they got blown out by the Broncos in one of John Elway's Super Bowls there. Also, just their offense is so dynamic and powerful and just totally fantastic because, of course, you have Matt Ryan, of course, MVP candidate, throwing to guys like Julio Jones, Sanu and Gabriel and such, but also the running backs. The running backs are their X factor for sure, Coleman and Freeman. In the game against Seattle, they rushed for 102 combined and had 102 receiving yards combined as well. They counted for 240 yards total offense for the entire team. So those 2 guys are the X factors. You got to stop. You can either stop one, but are you going to be able to stop both? Yeah. I think it's very reminiscent of the Carolina Panthers' Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams back a number of years ago now.
All right.
Something like that. You have 2 quality running backs. Either of them can go in. If one were to go down, you'd still have a quality starting running back in that position to put up good yards. But their dynamic is just they're able to catch the ball out of the backfield, and Matt Ryan utilizes them to a high degree. Throws to them at a very high rate, of course, since it's mostly screens. I mean, it's hard not make a screen pass.
Yeah.
But even going to the Seattle game, that 54-yard catch by Freeman kind of sparked them a little bit in that game. Led them to winning that game, of course. But also, defensively, I think is even a bigger X factor in this game because you got to stop Aaron Rodgers, of course. Of course, Aaron Rodgers isn't going to have Jordy Nelson in this game with his rib problem.
He might play.
I would not play him
because
you don't want to. I don't think you shouldn't play Jordy Nelson because I think he'll end up getting more hurt in this game because
that's a chance to take.
The Falcons D-backs, they hit hard and they hit often because
Atlanta's defense is just like Seattle's defense when they won Super Bowl 48 because Dan Quinn is defense coordinator up there in Seattle. Now he's the head coach of the Falcons. So it's the same defense as what Seattle had.
Exactly, and that's what they said on the
Richard
broadcast
Sherman,
as well.
Cam Chancellor.
They mentioned that in the broadcast as well of the game, that kind of like a Legion of Boom themselves there in Atlanta now. But they hit guys really hard. They make you feel every hit. And ultimately, I think they might be the X factor in this game total. But I think they're going to they'll slow down Aaron Rodgers. I'm not going to say they're going to stop Aaron Rodgers by any means, but I don't think that they're going to run the ball effectively. The Packers will. They're going to have to rely on Aaron Rodgers solely. And without Jordy Nelson out there, it makes it a little bit harder for him, of course, just a little bit. But Aaron Rodgers can throw to anybody, and it'll be just fine. But they'll rush him very well, just like they did against Russell Wilson. Yeah, Rodgers has the mobility similar to Wilson's, not nearly as good, so maybe a little bit more sacks on Rodgers as well. And
there's a chance.
Ultimately, it could be. I mean, it's likely to be a fantastic game, high scoring, in the 30s possibly. But it should be close. It should be an exciting game. I think I give the slight edge to Atlanta. You talked about it. It might come down to one stop, and it might just be the Atlanta defense that makes that one stop on Aaron Rodgers.
It might, or it might be the Packers defense off of Matt Ryan. But we'll just have to find out and see. As I said, that game's on Sunday at 3:05 on Fox, so be sure to tune in. I'm picking the Packers and the Steelers. You're picking.
Well, now the Patriots and the Falcons, of course.
And that leads us to our question of the week.
Yes.
We want to know who you think will be playing in Super Bowl 51, Super Bowl LI, on February 5th at NRG Stadium down in Houston. As I said, I'm taking the Steelers and the Packers. He's taking the Patriots and the Falcons. Either matchup would be great, I think, but let us know what you think. You can let us know in the comments below right now. Without further ado, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up because we don't have anything else to talk about this week.
We don't. Today was just an NFL episode.
Yeah, but next week we're going to be recapping the AFC and the NFC title games as we just talked about. We'll be recapping those. The WWE Royal Rumble is coming up, so next week be sure to tune into that. We'll be previewing that and get our predictions for that. And then we'll see how the hockey season has gone so far. Give our mid-season awards to some teams, players, some coaches, odds and ends. And then plus the All-Star weekend for hockey is January 29th and 30th. So that would be next week on Across the Goal Line. As I said at the beginning of the show, by the way, share this post, get it out to all your friends and family. As I said earlier, be sure to like us here on Facebook. As I said, we're doing it again on my Facebook page this week. We get a lot more feedback than what we do on our page, but it is what it is. So like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ATGL16. Is there any comments on there, Corey? No, just people joining. So make sure subscribe to YouTube and email us at acrossthegoalline2016@gmail.com. Question of the day today, going back to that, is who's going to win tonight's hockey game between the San Jose Sharks and the LA Kings. We're both picking the Sharks. And then the question of the week, which we'll have up here real soon, is who do you think is going to be playing in Super Bowl 51 down in Houston on February 5th? Whether it be the New England Patriots out of the AFC, the number 1 seed, the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 3 seed in the AFC, or the number 2 seed Atlanta Falcons in the NFC, or the number 4 seed Green Bay Packers. So I'm going Steelers Pack. He's going Patriots Falcons. I'm Luke Gossart. He's Corey Maines. Follow both of us on Twitter as well. Cool Hand Luke 96, CA Maines 14. And with that, we'll see you next week here on Across the Goal Line.